the whole Food Stamp Act and everything was written for the purpose of, giving people the ability to go out and buy food when they don't have their own resources, then that is the purpose of the food stamp. Then there should never be anybody allowed to convert food stamps into cash. And if, a shelter has their food all donated to them, then they don't need the food stamps from their clients at all. Because the only purpose of food stamps created by the Constitution is to buy food. And you can say, well, they mean the right thing, and they hope, they're trying to do what's right. And they need the money, so why shouldn't they be allowed to? Well, if that's true, they need the money, then they need to use other federal authorization, but that money in those food stamps should not come from the food stamp program budget, because that's not what it was intended for. And there should be other financial resources available. If any monetary assistance to run the shelters, and I believe there is. So what you end up with is shelters with a lot of people working there that get paychecks that, it's a little top heavy. And what do they actually do, to help people is the question. So kicking homeless people in the street when they have jobs because they showed up after curfew or didn't make their bed the right way, or decided they didn't want to go to therapy anymore. A professionally trained clinician should know how to manage that and get results without having to take paychecks away from their clients. That's my opinion, and I think people that are professionally trained have professional credentials. I'm not talking about just there to help. I'm talking about licensed professional counselors or clinical psychologists, people that have state licenses. I'm not talking about one person on staff with those credentials that's supervising everybody else either. Registered nurses, under the direction of a psychiatrist, masters of clinical social work. Those types of people are the ones that should be doing the treatment plan. And if you can't set it up that way, well, we're just doing the best we can, and in some circumstances, the best you can is just not good enough. We're just hiring somebody to be a desk jockey. You're talking about people's confidential information, domestic violence situations, stuff like that. We stayed at the rescue mission. They had an ex-convict who had been to prison for narcotics running a group therapy session. They were requiring everybody to go to it to talk about drug addiction. I think I went to it once, maybe twice, because they told me I had to go. There was a woman in one of the sessions that said she just had her children removed from her home. She lost her home, and she had been charged with a drug charge. And she said she thought about killing herself. That woman was an ex-convict. She wasn't a clinical therapist. The Reverend's wife was an RN, but she wasn't in the room. that woman needed immediate psychiatric intervention, and of course we all told her, don't kill yourself, and I didn't say anything. The only thing I said was, I'm Jeanette Spangler, I'm a substitute teacher. I've never done drugs a day in my life, and I'm sorry I can't identify with you and your issues. So, I mean, it's just really bogus, and that Reverend's wife set up this program where she set up a program for people to earn credit, like college, if they took classes and basic stuff, like budgeting and stuff like that. They didn't have professional people. Even if you have an kind and, rehabilitated, running a group session, that to me is extremely dangerous to do that, because people do become suicidal and kill themselves, or they become violent and angry and they act out. Those are things that professional clinicians know how to manage and know what to do and know how to intervene professionally with their treatment to overcome. And it's just that individual, ex-convicts, I don't care how many years they've been on a stunt preaching to people, are not professionally credentialed to treat those types of situations, and don't have the professional credentials or training, professional training to deal with it. You say, well, they've been around it enough, they know. Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. It doesn't mean that they have the professional credentials to take action. It doesn't mean that because they've been around it that they know how to treat it, and that they've been around shrinks and stuff like that doesn't mean that they have the professional training to treat it, or that they really know. So, that's pretty bogus to me. And when they kicked me out of the rescue mission, they said I'd lied and told them I was going to college. No, that's not what I told them. I told them I would apply to go to college. He said, you also said you're a teacher. Are you a certified teacher? No. Okay, so you lied about that too. So no, I'm a substitute teacher. I'm not lying about that. And I took classes to become a certified teacher. So they were kicking people out like me, for no reason at all. And they were telling people they had to apply for disability. They had informants in their dorms, telling people to apply for disability, for depression and stuff. And they had jobs that they had to leave the rescue mission. So, if you had taken the money, all the money that was spent and given to the shelters, how much easier it would have been to house those people if you just gone out and rented apartments for them. Yeah, Providence House. Providence House says that's what they do. And if you move into a apartment for 2 years, they still supervise it.